Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show, y'all. Today I'm going to be talking to you about moral codes, moral spectrums, and why our behavior is dictated the way it is, right? This conversation came about when me and my friend Michael were having, we were talking one day about why do we do what we do and all of these different types of things. And I've given this a lot of thought over the years, and I've come up with my own way to explain how and why we end up doing the things that we do. And it's not just about people that are in prison. This is just about, you know what I'm saying, how individuals, no matter where you're at, what you're doing in your life, how you conclude to make what decision, and when you get caught up in all of that minutia. This is just my way of being able to explain this to people. It's not a scientific thing. I haven't done any studies or anything like that on it. I just I use my own personal experience to lay this foundation to it. And Michael, he had a question for me one day about why he did the things that he did. And I want him to explain the foundation of that conversation, and then we're going to proceed from there. And I hope that y'all get something out of this. It might give you some insight into yourself or your child or somebody that you love as to why they do what they do. Like I say, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and I don't play one on my podcast, but I do self-reflect a lot. And I've been there, done that, and I like to always put myself up as an example to try to figure out what's going on. Because believe me, y'all, I don't want to go down this road ever again. And if it's anything that I can do to make sure that that never happens, that's what I'm going to do. And if I can offer some insight to help you or somebody that you love, you know what I'm saying, decide to turn away from that negative behavior, criminal behavior, whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm going to do, right? But right now, let's get to Michael and see what he has to say. Let him lay this foundation, and then we're going to get right into this show. Go ahead, Michael. What's up, man?
The question came about, what made us do or act the way we do or did. And I guess my question was, why in the world did I get into criminal behavior having been raised the way that I was raised? I was raised, I'll say properly. My mom raised me right, to do right, to do right to others, to do good for others. Mm-hmm. And I guess in high school, I just strayed away from that and everything. Like I mentioned when we were talking about in the letters the other day.
You're talking about the episode that we did about from questions from the Utah students?
Yeah, from the questions.
Yeah.
That the fact that I knew what from a young age, what I was going to do in my life. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, high school, it just changed.
Okay, well, let me lay this foundation, because I said a few things at the beginning of this show about moral codes or moral spectrum, and all that, right? What I do, like, imagine a spectrum, a light spectrum. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that. Imagine a light spectrum, right? And a light spectrum goes from, light, white, all the way to dark, black, right? Mm-hmm. And all the other colorful, beautiful colors in between, right? And what I do, I created this spectrum in my mind that has on the left side the negative things, the right side the positive things, right? For example, on the right side, on the left side of my moral spectrum, and anybody's moral spectrum is going to be the negative thing. So let's just say racism. We know racism is wrong, right? We know bigotry is wrong. We know sexism is wrong. We know all of these things are wrong, right? That's the stuff that I'm talking about. Criminality is wrong. Those are the things that I'm talking about on the left side of this spectrum, this moral spectrum. And then on the right side of this moral spectrum, you have the things like being honest and having integrity and those types of things, and not being a racist, not being a bigot, not being a sexist, those types of things, right? Respecting other people, all of those types of things are on the right side of this spectrum. And the things that happen on this spectrum is what's going to help you formulate, consciously, subconsciously, whatever, your moral compass. And that moral compass is what's going to guide you. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to guide you into the decisions that you make, whatever side of that spectrum you're leaning to, right? And you have the question of, why did I do what I did? And I knew it was wrong, and I was raised the right way. And I assume when you say the right way, you were raised to respect people, respect other people's property, respect people as human beings, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all of those types of things, right?
Yeah.
Work for what you wanted and all those types of things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's on the right side of your moral spectrum. But you told me something during one of our conversations in the past that I think contributed to the things that ended up on the left side of your spectrum, right? Which those things on the left side of the spectrum, most of those things put on that side through some kind of traumatic event, right? And what you went through in high school, tell everybody what you went through in high school that you told me about one day in a conversation.
Well, there were several different things that probably contributed.
But what's the most, it's one thing I'm looking for in particular that stood out with me when you talked to me about how people perceived you and how they treated you. Your own people. When we say own people, we're talking about who?
People of color.
Okay, now go ahead.
In high school, I played football. And during pep rallies, before the football games and everything, the football team thought it was funny to holler sellout.
Mm-hmm.
So it had the whole school chanting sellout.
At you?
At me.
Mm-hmm.
And they, everybody thought it was funny because, I was a sellout. That was my nickname in high school, sellout.
Sellout.
Yeah.
Why do you think they called you sellout?
Because of the way that I speak and the way that I didn't see color. Being
raised that way.
Being raised that way and being raised in Michigan, it was just totally different. I mean, I don't see it. And
so you were raised in Michigan, but you moved to the South.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. But that's important. So, but go ahead.
But it doesn't. And so they kept on. And at the time, I was like, it's funny, whatever. And it made me want to fit in with my own. I had to fit in with my own. So when I got a car, everybody wanted to ride with me because I was the only one that had a car. Everybody wanted to ride with me. So, hey, man, you need to do this. You need to do that. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. So my morals started to decay, because the things don't just happen overnight. So they started to decay. And I was like, the first time, it was like, let's do this. Nah, that ain't right. Now, come on, let's go do that. I'm going to get you a radio for your car. I've seen this radio over here. We can steal that out of this guy's car. Nah, I'm going to go get it. Okay. All right. Then I see them do this kind of stuff, and it was like, it just drew me in and drew me in and drew me in.
And why do you think you knew it was wrong? Why do you think you went along with it?
Wanted to fit in.
You wanted to be validated.
For my own.
You didn't want to be called a sellout.
Yeah.
Now, that traumatic event, the way I see things, is what put on your left side of that moral spectrum criminality, right? Because you participating in this or being a silent participant in it, you maybe didn't initially start doing it. You would watch them do it and it was cool. And as long as you didn't say anything and you went along with it, they treated you as what? An equal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, it's an equal on a lower level, but you're being treated as an equal. But it's doing what? Because you said a few minutes ago, it was decaying your morals.
Morals, most definitely.
And it's a subtle thing when that happens, where we start to ignore the things that our parents or grandparents or the people in our lives that really love us. We start to ignore what they tell us, what they told us that they was raising us, what's right and what's wrong, and start to pay more attention to our peer group.
Yeah.
The people that we hang around with all day, the people that can make us feel good or bad about ourselves with one word or one statement. You feel what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because we know when we go home, we get love from our people at home, the people that really love us. But these people that we're hanging around with, having fun with, or want to have fun with, and want to be accepted by, if they don't like us, we feel bad.
Yeah.
And you felt bad, so you allow these things to happen. You're not looking at it in a way to where, your morals are being decayed,
mm-hmm.
right? So you really didn't even understand what was happening to you. You were being turned into somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So over time, it became for you and any of us that go through that more comfortable, I'll say that, to do what we did. Yeah. You feel what I mean? We don't have those guardrails up that our parents instilled in us. And when I say those guardrails, I'm talking about, respecting other people and doing the right thing by people, and recognizing other people's humanity in the way that they tell us to do as far as being honest with people and don't do these things that we do in the streets. All of those guardrails, they were taken away.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was taken away from you. And you participated in that. And because I've come to believe, even though we're children at the time, or young at the time, young adults or whatever, teenagers, because you're not conscious of the choices that you're making, you're still making a choice.
Mm-hmm. And I was, even when I started living the life, it's funny that I never lost that moral compass to say, don't do something to somebody that's not in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They were people that were living their life the way they're supposed to live their life weren't fair game. They, leave them alone. Mm-hmm. That was my thought. But people in the streets, if you're doing what I'm doing, you're fair game.
Right. See, you did what a lot of people do. You did exactly what racist people do. You cut out a certain group of people to where it was okay for you so you could massage your own insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
That you made it okay for you to do that to these people, these street people. But I'm not going to do that to these people that go to work and do these things. I'm going to do that to these street people. See, that's what racist people do. They don't like a person or a group of people because of their skin color.
Mm-hmm.
See, right? So that's what makes it confusing to a lot of people when, okay, you over here, you treat these people over here that look like you respectful, and you know what to say, you know how to act right, but then this group of people over here that's black and brown skin, you mistreat the same, and I'm talking about you show an ugly face, and you were doing the exact same thing by saying that these street people, it's whatever. Yeah. But these people over here, leave them alone.
Yeah.
And that's what we do to massage that insecurity that we have. We make it okay so we can sleep at night. We justify, we rationalize that it's okay to act like this toward this group of people. And what you did, you dehumanized these people in the streets, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
But these people over here that go to work and do it, you still recognize their humanity. And that's what we do when we try to figure out a way to make it make sense so we can go ahead and do what we do, because what we want more than anything is we want to be accepted by our peer group.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? Whatever I need to do to get accepted by my peer group so I won't feel bad, right? As opposed to going to explain this to your mother and talk to her about that. You try to deal with that on your own, and that's a lot of weight for a person to carry when you're as young as you were. See, we don't understand that either, because like I say, that moral spectrum is going to dictate that you're going to, yeah. And that's what we do. And like I say, once you become a little bit more self-aware and start paying attention to that, it's kind of like your morals become like the brake pads in a car. You know what I'm saying? You ride along in the car's your life, and you see things on the things over here. But these negative things, you know what I'm saying, to the left, you need to drive on by. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And those positive things, that's when you put on the brakes and you appreciate and recognize it. But when you're not in tune, when you're not reflecting on your day and reflecting on all the thoughts that you have and the actions that come from those thoughts and how people respond to the way that you treat them, when you're not, then it becomes easier for you to dehumanize a person, but you don't want that to happen to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you tell the teenagers nowadays? How do you speak to a teenager now, the single mother at home and the son's just slowly going that way?
Well, it's something that I'm coming to understand. Hard for me to articulate, what would you say to that parent or that child? It's not so hard today, right? Because more than anything today, I don't really focus on what they did more than I focus on why they did it. Because that's the question. When let's examine your situation, I can say you did what you did. So you developed this moral compass from that moral spectrum that made you comfortable. Even though those things on that moral spectrum on the left side of it were wrong things, it made you feel comfortable because it made them stop saying what? Sell out.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if I'm dealing with a child or a parent and going to, I want to know more so about what you breaking them folks' houses for. You know that's wrong. Of course the child knows that's wrong. I need to know what's going on with them. You feel what I'm saying? And you're going to have to sit them down and talk to them. It ain't going to be nothing you can do in one conversation.
Yeah.
You have to figure out why this child has decided that this is what they need to do to be validated. That's what you have to get to. Because that's what it is. They're seeking validation from some peer group. Period. Point blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even try to talk to the guys in here.
Yeah.
That keep talking about doing this and doing that. Man, you're in prison for that. You're in prison for this. Why in the world do you want to go back out there and do the same thing and come back to prison? No, it's just different now. What's different? Why do you want to keep living like that?
Right. It's nothing different. You hit them on the head. Ain't nothing different about it. They feel more comfortable doing that because the people that they have gotten used to, that peer group, they have gotten used to how they treat them. You know what I mean? Look how, we treat a dope boy in here. Like they king of the world. And most of them ain't got the sense God gave a peanut. Now let's just speak real now. Keep it real.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, man, if you can sit there and count that money or do whatever it is you're doing to get this dope, or you can eyeball how much it is for an 8-ball or whatever it is that you're selling, you can eyeball this stuff. Why don't you figure out some way to do this stuff and do it positive instead of selling drugs?
Because
do something else.
Because that feeling that they get, they don't get that from it because the reason that they're doing it is different. If you get out of here, you go get a job, right? You're doing that because you want to do the right thing, right? But that moral spectrum that you've developed based off of the things that you've been traumatized from and all of this and that, right? That moral spectrum is driving you from an emotional standpoint. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, your emotions are being pushed to the point to where you're feeling uncomfortable and you want to be comfortable. You want to feel comfortable. You don't want to feel stressed out. You don't want to feel afraid. You don't want to feel abandoned. You don't want to feel any of those types of things, right? So you're going to do whatever you can to put that to bed. And if that means I got to get out here and sell dope so people will see me as somebody, then I'm going to get out here and sell dope. That's what most of them say. But they don't break it down like that because nobody wants to break it down and say, man, I'm hurting.
So it goes to where they say that when drug dealers have to take the drug classes. Like, I don't do drugs. I just sell drugs.
Right.
But you have an addiction. You're addicted to money. You're addicted to, that's like we were talking about the other night. You're an addict.
Yeah, they are addicts. But see, becoming an addict is, that's secondary to the reason that they do it. See, you become an addict, because you're involved in that lifestyle and it's giving you that rush. But why did you even go down that road to become that addict? You became an addict because you've hurt and you're suffering from something. And the reason that, I'm going to bring it back to the penitentiary for a minute. Penitentiary was in effect here. The reason that it's so hard for people in institutions to be able to break through, to get these people in here to stop, those of us that are here to stop doing the things that we continue to do in a negative way, is because they don't they care about us. They tell us the same things that everybody else says. Go get a job, do this and do that, and everything is going to be fine. And I believe that to the extent that if you give yourself a chance, because if you do it long enough, it's going to change the way you feel. You see what I'm saying? Stay away from that negative stuff and work over here. And after a while, you're going to see a new peer group emerge. You feel what I'm saying? Your mother, your grandmama, your sister, your brother, your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, whoever, they're going to start to look at you and be like, yeah, I dig that. Keep doing that. And now you're being congratulated and rewarded and looked upon as somebody based on, from people that really know you. And now you seek that. You're seeking that validation. You're seeking that. You're not seeking that from the people in the street. Now this is outweighing that in the streets. But if you don't give it a chance, right, when you start feeling antsy and all of this and that, those people in the streets, they are waiting to say, what's up, man? Been waiting on you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that makes you feel good. It makes you feel important again. It makes you feel important. And if people that work in these facilities would just look at it from that point of view, stop treating me based on what I did. and treat me based off of why I did it. Get to the heart of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. That is the key.
So if they want true corrections, that's what they need to do.
You got to care.
Yeah.
If you want, you got to give people hope. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard to do when you're dealing with a murderer, a drug dealer that sold dope to people. You got people out there strung out doing anything. It's hard to do it's hard to give somebody that attention that they need and care about somebody that has hurt people.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But, that's what's required. It's just that on that. And that goes for people out there. You don't have to just be in prison. If you're dealing with a situation where you got somebody that keeps cheating, he keeps cheating. He or she keeps cheating. They ain't going to stop, right? The way you see it, right? The question you need to ask is not, what's going on in the part you keep cheating. Is why do you keep cheating? What is that doing for you? Yeah. And when you get to it, you're going to figure out they've been crushed some kind of way, and they get a better feeling out of doing that than they do out of doing it the right way. It's simple as that. And that's across the board. That is across the board.
It's a hard pill for people to swallow too,
Yes, it's a hard pill for people to swallow, but here's the thing. A lot of this, and it took me years, a lot of this you can do on your own.
You can?
You can do on your own. It's a matter of self-reflection, self-awareness, and really going on that journey, being curious about your own behavior. Being curious about your own behavior and trying to figure out what it is, what's making me tick, and be honest about it.
Yeah, because I thought I was having fun. I thought, it was fun doing what I was doing, and I lost my conscience. I didn't have a conscience because I saw a man get shot in front of me and didn't think nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think nothing about it. The man got hit all in his chest and everything, and I didn't think anything about that.
Right.
But now you see the stuff on the news, I'm like, man, that's terrible.
See, but you know what you're seeing on the news? See, you're seeing the people on the news that was off limits to you, too. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but tell me this. How do you feel when you see somebody on the news that's living in the streets that end up shot? Do you feel bad for them, too?
I do. It's a life.
See, you're getting there.
It's a life.
See, you're getting there then. See, because now both sides of that matter.
Because I hate it when somebody gets shot and killed. He was a convicted felon. So?
Exactly. That shouldn't.
So what?
Yeah. But see, you got to remember that. You got to remember something. You got to remember you got the news and then you got the business of the news.
Sensationalism is
exactly. They're trying to keep people tuned in, and they know their audience. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what they like to hear. That's what they're going to say. Yeah. Convicted felon, been in and out of penitentiary 6 times.
Yeah.
Caught with a gun,
Doesn't matter that he's dead. So
right. Yeah, in a lot of ways that behavior that they exhibit, that contributes to the dehumanization of people. You know what I'm saying? And I think if they really realized that on their level, they would quit doing that. But they would have to restructure their whole model of how they do business, because you got a lot of people out there that are hurt.
Yeah, and that's what drives it. It's like it's to me, they're victimizing people by bringing their trauma. Because we had an interview one time. The news came out and interviewed the class, and they put on there convicted murderer. That's not my name. Committed. It's not my name at all. What does it matter? They know that I'm in prison, so they know that I've committed a crime. Mm-hmm. So why in the world do you have to put on there convicted murderer?
Right. Well, a whole lot of different reasons, and it's all wrong. Yeah. Let's just get to it. You know what I mean? It's all wrong, but that's what works for people. People that are out there hurting, they don't want to hear that this person that just killed somebody or raped somebody or robbed somebody or sold drugs to somebody had a bad life. And they need our love. They need our care. They need our hope. They need our inspiration. They do not want to hear that. What they want is a pound of flesh. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And they throw that at them.
And my victim's mother said at my sentencing hearing, she said, I can tell by the way that you testified that you were raised right, that you came from a good environment. Yeah. And she said, I was all set on saying that you were a victim of your surroundings. She said, you weren't. She said, but a parent can only do so much. She said, so I don't blame your mother. I don't blame your mother at all. Yeah. You're not a victim of your circumstance.
Right. Yeah. I get her. I believe that. And how'd that make you feel when she said that?
I felt good from validating my mom. You know, it was validating her. So
Right.
saying that she did her job.
So
I
she
failed.
wouldn't feel to blame.
Yeah, I failed. You know, it wasn't her. She didn't fail. I failed.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. You got any more questions?
No, that's till the next time.
That's what's up. Look here. Appreciate you doing this, man.
All right.
This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so tired.